Breaking news from Pokrovsk. Enemy forces being cleared from the sky. Foreigners have appeared on the Ukrainian front. Putin has hit a new low again. The Ukrainian armed forces have broken through a window in the Russian army's defenses and pushed straight through iron and fire. These battle scenes are simply stunning. Our weapons have bared their teeth. Precise shots have wiped out entire positions. The enemy is counting their losses by the dozens. All this and more in our episode of Hotel na Topka. Pokrovsk is on the edge. Russia is trying to implement the Kursk scenario on Ukrainian soil. Myrnohrad is one step away from encirclement. The tension is rising by the hour. At this time, our defenders are engaged in fierce battles. FPV drones on fiber optics are swarming toward the AFU positions, but it's all in vain. Ours can't be broken that easily. Every move of the occupier is tracked, every maneuver is calculated. The response comes instantly. How are we managing to hold the front with our last ounce of strength, and what could force the enemy to retreat? Don't miss out. More in the following report.
This is what the Dobropilya-Kramatorsk highway looks like now. Just a month ago, this was the main route providing logistics for this part of Donetsk region. Now the route is under the control of Russian attack drones. All the villages along the road that enemy UAV operators can reach are also relentlessly turning into ruins. Andriivka and Novotroitske suffer the most from drone attacks.
Everyone is afraid to go. They're afraid, but they still come. Once, for a whole week, we sat without electricity, without a fridge. Everything was just like that. There was nothing. We found the cable ourselves, climbed up ourselves. The military did help, actually. Our hunters and the military turned on the electronic warfare and stood guard while we were stretching the lines.
And the closer you get to Pokrovsk, the more destruction and burned out cars you see. Although the front line is more than 20 kilometers away from the Dobropilya-Kramatorsk highway, which by military science standards is considered a fairly deep rear area.
By this time, the diligent farmers working here in the fertile Pokrovsk district should have already commenced their vital harvesting operations, at the very least, the essential wheat crop. But regrettably, that simply won't happen now. There won't be a harvest because all the equipment that enters these fields along the Kramatorsk-Dobropilya highway is destroyed by the Russians.
The Russians perfected the tactic of destroying logistics in the near rear back in the Kursk region. Now they are actively using it in Donetsk region. It is precisely thanks to this tactic that the enemy manages to advance and create the threat of encirclement around the Pokrovsk-Myrnohrad agglomeration. And with each passing day, the neck of the pocket where these two cities are located becomes narrower. So the soldiers of the 32nd Steel Brigade are preparing to head out to Pokrovsk to deliver supplies and ammunition to its defenders. Given the circumstances, this is an extremely risky, if not suicidal, task. The road is monitored by Russian drones. But the guys have no choice. Without timely supplies, the city's defense would be impossible.
Hang in there, we are holding on. Hold on.
This time the group was lucky enough to get in and out unnoticed, but any vehicle that appears on the highway or in the city itself is immediately attacked by enemy UAVs. The front line now stretches for many kilometers along the main highway, and there are no obstacles here for Russian drones. Our brave soldiers on the front lines often refer to this treacherous road as the road of death. And not without very good reason, because this is the critically important road that directly connects the significant cities of Pokrovsk and Dobropilya, situated just behind me. And almost absolutely no one dares to drive on it anymore because the Russian forces have already taken it under their full and complete control, primarily utilizing their advanced FPV drones for surveillance and attack. The drones even strike at civilian cars trying to escape from fire-engulfed Pokrovsk. Due to the high risk, the police no longer carry out evacuations here. So, Dmitro is trying to shoot down another Russian FPV drone that has gone hunting over the road. However, it's extremely difficult to do this with automatic weapons. In Pokrovsk, you can only rely on your ears and your legs. In the past few weeks, enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups have joined the drones as well. Russian forward units managed to infiltrate the urban area of Pokrovsk. Some of the saboteurs were eliminated, but how many enemy soldiers remain here is unknown. This man was rummaging through the destroyed apartments, which caught Dimitro's attention. As it turned out, he is a local and was simply looking for something to eat, since no one dares to bring humanitarian aid into the city anymore.
I just came to check out these food supplies, nothing else. Look, I'll show you. There's a small pack of oatmeal and some pasta in that bag over there.
Why aren't you leaving?
Well, how can you leave when there are still drones and all that?
Dimitro does not rule out that the remaining Russians could have simply blended in with the local population, since there are still up to several thousand people left in Pokrovsk.
They're incredibly cunning, just like us, you know.
They tried different, and also different ways, let's say, to get past us unnoticed. And yes, they could have changed clothes and come in as civilians. And since we let civilians through, let them out, and, well, try not to put pressure on them. Something fell.
The Russians carry out such bombing strikes on Pokrovsk around the clock. 2 or 3 dozen glide bombs hit the city every day. And that's not counting drone and artillery strikes.
Say it like that, Ilarion.
Which one of you is in the sky right now? From the direction of the extension. Ah, well done. Come on, come on. Excellent.
The unit commanded by Vitaly is defending the outskirts of Pokrovsk and preventing the Russians from breaking through our defenses. But the situation, the soldier says, is extremely tense. With each passing day, the enemy is increasing its efforts to encircle the entire agglomeration. For the occupiers, Pokrovsk is an extremely important political objective.
They've already started having rosy dreams. Over there in Virova, they claimed that they had taken or entered Pokrovsk. Well, now they're going to actively push this narrative and throw a lot of resources here, because Pokrovsk is a large city, and in the near future, a lot of resources will be deployed here.
For a full-fledged and, most importantly, effective defense of the city, our military lacks sufficient personnel. And most importantly, drones, because without them you can't win a modern war. Stanislav Kukarchuk, Vyacheslav Romotan, Oleg Kukarski. Details from Inter-TV channel Marathon United News.
In Russia, it's the peak season for firecrackers. Drones have penetrated deep into the rear and turned everything upside down, leaving only ashes behind. The regions are literally falling apart. Critically important infrastructure has vanished into oblivion. In the Kremlin, there is total denial of the situation. Meanwhile, the main intelligence directorate is finishing off the enemy with extremely powerful special operations. The enemy has never experienced such shame before. Take a look at these epic shots yourself.
Oh, wow. That's a bad sound. That spells trouble. Let's get out of here. That sound is not good. Let's go in faster. It's okay, it's okay. Don't go out, don't go out. This is the resort city of Sochi. For the first time since the start of the full-scale war, Ukrainian drones, similar to the Lyut UAV, have added special effects to the vacation package. But it seems these effects weren't much appreciated by the Russian vacationers, and even less so by the locals.
Why are they bombing Sochi? Aren't they supposed to bomb Russia? Wait, isn't Sochi part of Russia?
This question has already become a meme. Just like the next one, where is the Russian air defense?
They've run out of missiles already. Maybe the missiles really have run out. There are just so many drones now. Maybe the missiles are finished. Is the air defense reloading? They're just hammering away at the same spot now.
But it's even worse where the air defense is actually working. They were firing at a drone so much that they ended up blowing up a residential building with their own S-400 missile. The main target of the Ukrainian attack was the oil depot at Sochi International Airport, 550 kilometers from the Ukrainian border.
They hit the oil depot? Damn! They hit it, yeah. Did they hit the target? Yeah, everything was destroyed in the area of the fuel depot.
Thousands of cancelled flights at Russian airports were compounded by a new transportation collapse. Drones have found key railway junctions important for the occupying army. These are the logistical arteries that feed Russia's war machine. If you cut them off, supplies to the front stop.
They're on the railway. There are obstacles on the tracks. Another one flew towards the railway again. It hit the railway. Obstacles. Railway.
Through Kamny, short for the Kamenolomny station, the Russian army transfers equipment, weapons, fuel, and soldiers to the front. Good drones destroyed both the station building itself, the control room, and the networks. As a result, almost 150 trains did not reach their destinations on time, which undermines their offensive.
Andrei Nikolaevich, it's better not to come up here yet. It's still smoking.
And this is already another station, Likaya. It truly suffered a disaster since the days of the ATO. In fact, a significant part of the supply for the Donetsk and Luhansk fronts comes from here. At the railway station, there will be more soon. Horrific. Our defenders also attacked the railway logistics hub in Novokharkivsk. It hit the railway station. Last night, a substation supplying power to the railway in the Oktyabrski district of Volgograd region exploded. Civilian air traffic is being blocked by drones. We're actively attacking the railways. There are changes happening at Russian ports as well. Starting this week, all foreign vessels there have been ordered to be inspected by FSB officers, which adds more problems for Russia's war economy. We continue our painful tactic for the enemy, death by 1,000 cuts. So, several enterprises that are strategic for the enemy's military-industrial complex were attacked this week. It was our drones, two types at once, these mini Shaheds and these tailed UAVs, that struck the sanctioned signal radio factory in Stavropol. This factory is key for electronic warfare systems in aviation and air defense, as well as for weapon guidance systems. According to a source from TSN Week in the Security Service of Ukraine, at least 2 buildings of the factory were damaged. There were expensive imported machines and production lines in the workshops. And this is how the nitrogen plant in Stavropol Krai was burning, a producer of raw materials for explosives, including nitric acid and ammonium nitrate.
Now there will be another one. It is the main supplier for the production of munitions, including artillery shells, aerial bombs, and MLRS. Powder factories are once again in the crosshairs. This is how it was burning at the Kotovsky powder plant in the Tambov region. Here, the Russians produce powder both for small arms and for rockets. The operation or shutdown of this plant determines the production line of dozens of other defense enterprises. A series of powerful explosions thundered in occupied Donetsk and Makivka. There was a powerful strike in the area of the Zashyadko mine. At least 8 strikes hit the occupiers' base and the railway infrastructure. And all of them hit the target. Damn!
Ammunition was burning near occupied Melitopol. This week, our military intelligence reported that a Su-27 combat training fighter jet caught fire at the Amavir airfield in Krasnodar Krai. They hinted this was the work of partisans, and there's more to come. Oksana Radionova, Natalka Kucherenko, TSN Week, 1+1 Marathon United News.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
On the Zaporizhzhia front, the enemy is changing the game once again. Putin is sending not his own people into the hell, but yet another group of foreigners. This time, it's not North Korean fighters. The geography of the Kremlin's mercenaries is becoming more and more absurd. But no one is waiting for them here. They are being tracked down. Our forces operate under the cover of darkness. Shadows turn into predators, and in every ambush, they're already in the crosshairs. One sortie and 4 targets are completely destroyed. What kind of weapon strikes with such precision, and what other surprises await the invaders? Details coming up in just a moment.
It's about to be lights out. Turn off the camera. Open the windows. Fire.
Listening carefully to your surroundings and peering into the darkness is the first requirement on the way to the positions of the 65th Mechanized Brigade south of Orikhiv, and survival rule number 1 near the line of contact when you're not underground. Oh, something's definitely buzzing around here. I can hear it.
Something's buzzing. All right, run back.
Without a detector that picks up the approach of any drone, Syver, the navigator and commander of the heavy bomber crew, admits they don't take a single step on the surface anymore. Without the detector, as I understand it, you don't go out on the surface at all.
Sometimes we go out, damn, and we see a drone has come somewhere over here.
Back. But their job is such that they have to go out many times every night. Can you say how many sorties you've made in total?
Definitely over 200.
Did you take detector?
Yeah. Let's go. Look, it's coming this way. It'll be on the job. Did it pass, yeah? Got it. And another one.
Upon detecting the enemy presence, you should then proceed to engage them immediately. Over.
Their job in principle is to engage the enemy. This time, the duty officer's warning sounded when the heavy shot 65 was already in the air and approaching the first scheduled target of the night.
That's roughly the line of contact. Wow, that's already a bastard. There it goes. Somewhere, that's FPV stuff. Or it's our Mavic. Now we'll be taken apart. There's their gathering over there and...
Groups of enemy assault troops, says Siva Brigade Reconnaissance, and they themselves spot them every night in the Orikhiv-Tokmak direction.
They put camping tents on their heads, raincoats.
Raincoats, you can clearly see them now.
Yeah, there's a body lying there.
Yeah, that's the black square.
Yeah, the black square. Well, on this grey one, there will be a rectangle like that.
That's already the bastards, already. Usually every night we detected groups and destroyed them.
From time to time, enemy vehicles or armored vehicles try to break through to the front line here. So far, with the same result, assures Ignis, the pilot of the heavy shot of the 65th.
Guys, our FPV drone operators, the other day I saw them, damn, they took out a tank for them, damn. It's moving, right into their box, damn. Come here. Looks like the mortar started working on it. Nice job. We observed this. In Kopani and Nesteryanka, it's heavy vehicle equipment actively pushing them there.
Recently, foreigners have started appearing again in the defense sector of the Veliki Luh Brigade. They're wearing Russian-style uniforms.
Practically 98% of them are foreigners. There are a significant number of Chinese individuals, many Yemenis, numerous Indians, and a substantial population of Arabs present. In short, it appears quite evident that they also face a considerable shortage of individuals who are willing and prepared to participate in dangerous and challenging assaults.
Captured enemy infantrymen said, according to the head of the communications department of the 65th Mechanized Brigade, that the Muscovite unit, made up mostly of foreigners, had been prepared for a long time specifically for assaults in the Zaporizhia direction.
One of them said that they had been trained for 5 months, specifically for assault operations and specifically for the Zaporizhia direction. Right now, assault units of the regular Russian army are being concentrated here, where soldiers undergo rather lengthy training before going to the front lines.
But it makes no difference to them, assures the sapper of the Ukrainian heavy bomber crew, which enemy to track down. To destroy any enemy, the diver says, they have the means.
Nos. Wow. It's a shaped charge, so it creates a shaped charge crater, and this one is a fragmentation one. There are grooves inside so that they break apart into segments. It's an awesome thing.
A Kiev native and a swimming coach by profession, and he admits by calling, he now performs explosive manipulations with almost surgical precision.
This is a very powerful subercious plastic explosive. Knead it. It's a bit hard, but once you warm it up in your hands, knead it, carefully keep it away from your face, and put it in there. First time it worked so well. Oh!
Ooh, wow.
It went directly and precisely into the hole.
Another siver. We've finished. Take a look in that burrow. On this short July night, the crew of the heavy shot from the 65th Mechanized made more than half a dozen sorties. And every time they had to load the aircraft under the hum of drones in a pitch-black sky.
Right here. Well, the important work is currently underway, making good and steady progress. It's going.
You're welcome. Well, for a 120mm mortar to hit like that, they usually have an error margin of 50 to 100. There's the path. It's from here. That's where we dropped the A on him. I don't think they'll be living there anymore.
Well, yeah, that was the plan. Yeah.
Sivor says today's results were definitely worth all the significant effort and the inherent risk.
Well, statistically, 5 sorties mean 1 less assault trooper.
From the Orikhiv-Tokmak section of the front in Zaporizhia, Alexander Motorny, Alexander Shayan, and Vitaly Ovsyanikov, TSN 1+1, United News Marathon.
The Caesar self-propelled howitzer strikes like lightning hitting without warning. This French artillery system has become a nightmare for the occupiers. There's no engine roar, no warning, just a strike and everything around is reduced to dust. In the sights, enemy positions, equipment, and depots. The occupiers scatter before they even have time to react. One salvo, and a few more volunteers join the ranks of shadows. What makes the Caesar unique, and how is this system changing the pace of the war in Ukraine's favor? Watch right now. We'll show you the most important things. These self-propelled artillery units are among the best in the world. Maneuverable, automated, rapid-firing, and precise.
A big advantage is the wheeled chassis, because thanks to it, the system is highly maneuverable. Then there's the high rate of fire and the ability to use navigation equipment, which in turn allows the system to take up a firing position in just a few minutes.
We're talking about the French Caesar self-propelled artillery units, which have become an integral part of the Ukrainian armed forces since 2022. And Ukrainian soldiers rate its effectiveness extremely highly.
The firing range allows us to strike enemy artillery at any distance from the front line, wherever it may be positioned.
If we're talking specifically about self-propelled artillery, this is the best we've been given.
And now there will be many times more of them. France has promised to deliver to Ukraine all the Caesar self-propelled artillery systems that will be produced in 2025. And that's about twice as many as have been delivered throughout the entire full-scale war. After all, the plan is for France to produce 12 systems per month, which means 144 self-propelled artillery units will be made in a year, and all of them will go to Ukraine.
We can recall that France was the first to provide us with wheeled tanks, the AMX vehicles. France has always advocated for worldwide support of Ukraine, and while other countries were still hesitating, we were already receiving French weapons and French ammunition, as well as French equipment for conducting military operations. So this is a completely logical step, a perfectly understandable move, unexpectedly pleasant, but overall not very surprising.
But such a number of Caesars also means a huge sum for them. One French self-propelled artillery unit costs about 5 million euros. 144 will cost 720 million euros. I don't even want to calculate that in hryvnias. So who will pay for it?
Various diverse sources of financial funding are currently being utilized to pay for these advanced self-propelled artillery units, including partially from frozen or seized Russian assets and partially from other contributing NATO countries providing essential support. This has been mentioned in particular by the German Minister of Industry multiple times, as well as by the presidential advisor and former minister Alexander Kamyshin, who said that we will attract funds from foreign investors specifically to pay for weaponry that will be produced both for Ukraine and within Ukraine itself, because we clearly do not have enough of our own resources.
We've sorted out the money issue. Now it's time to talk about the good news. In addition to the obvious advantage of the self-propelled artillery systems themselves, this transfer may also indicate that Europe has begun to take the Russian threat seriously, realizing that if Ukraine does not hold out, the EU will be Putin's next target.
Self-propelled artillery systems from 2025 and even possibly 2026 will be delivered to the armed forces of Ukraine. This clearly shows that all other contracts have been postponed and the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces are being prioritized above all else. This once again shows how seriously both France and Europe as a whole, since there is still no information about lawsuits, demands, or statutes, are treating the Russian threat. In other words, the European Union is slowly waking up, and maybe not even that slowly.
And this is extremely important news. It would have been better if this happened earlier, not in the fourth year of a full-scale war. But better late than never. The only question now is when the new Caesars will arrive. Will they be delivered monthly, or all at once at the end of 25 or the beginning of 26? There is no answer to this question yet. But is it even necessary to have one? It's better to keep such information secret so that the occupiers can fully experience the whole range of emotions. So to speak, from Paris with love, or see the Caesar and die.
A few accurate shots and the Russians are already on the ground. This is the standoff of the year. Our howitzers are going on the hunt. Every second counts. A battle on the edge of time. The enemy is not silent, throwing forces into the offensive, but our drones are wide awake. They see everything and adjust the strikes instantly. And when the occupiers thought they had caught us off guard, they were hit with a blow that shattered their plans completely. Unexpected, but right on target. What did it look like? Watch the full story next. In reality, reality, these days they're not really roaming the steppes of Zaporizhia that much. These are the self-propelled artillerymen of Ukraine's 118th Separate Mechanized Brigade.
We don't drive around anymore, we don't go anywhere because, as you can imagine, the skies are swarming.
Whoa.
Fifi, where are the guys?
Muscovite drones, both reconnaissance and strike, circle in the sky over the Orikhiv-Tokmak section of the front, lining up their targets and attack continuously, around the clock, as soon as they spot any movement on the Ukrainian side.
Fifi! We fired off the whole load, just rolled back, and right away, well, basically a shell landed straight into the top of our dugout.
That's why the artillerymen of the 118th mostly have to work from closed, well-camouflaged positions.
They pass the furniture as quickly as possible. We drive out, fire, and then pull back. Right now, we're mostly working against infantry.
Against infantry? So there's infantry movement?
Well, there are 2 or 3 people, they're moving around, and we target them.
Usually, says Vaka, the gunner of the 155mm self-propelled howitzer M109, it only takes a few shells to silence another group of Russian infantry for good.
2 or 3 shells. We can see that they are short on manpower. In order to locate our self-propelled gun, they might even send, let's say, 10 occupiers to their deaths.
Such attempts by the Russians to infiltrate with infantry from the southeast direction toward Mala Tokmachka happen every day. For its crew, the grandson admits, the commander of the 9th self-propelled Mista, they are all just numbers, target coordinates.
We mostly work with numbers, but they regularly send us videos so we understand what we're firing at. The father of the boys, it even, how to say, increases the fighting spirit, so to speak, if they have worked well. We diligently worked on their Saushka, and then, over time, it gradually started to come to us. So, in short, we effectively destroyed the self-propelled guns, and they desperately wanted to get us, but they ultimately didn't succeed.
Lately, such artillery duels have become rare, say the self-propelled artillerymen of the 118th. The occupiers don't bring their howitzers close to the front line because for many kilometers along the line of contact, everything is monitored and destroyed by Ukrainian drones. Instead, there was a period in the Orikhiv area when, as a counter-battery measure, the Russians used aviation.
They would precisely detect where our artillery was actively firing from, and then swiftly launch devastating glide bombs at that specific area. Usually 10, 12, sometimes even 15 of these powerful glide bombs would come in at once, creating a significant impact.
The day before, from the southeast flank, the Russians once again tried to attack the defensive line of the 118th near Orikhiv. This time they were supported by a tank, 4 infantry fighting vehicles, and more than half a dozen fast buggies.
The enemy realized that they don't have enough forces to capture the city, let's say, to enter the city head-on. To take the city, you need not only manpower, but also a large amount of equipment. Right now, the 118th Separate Mechanized Brigade has been stationed here for more than 2 years, and we are knocking out their equipment along a rather wide line of combat engagement.
Ukrainian scouts detected the enemy assault column while it was still approaching the line where it would deploy into battle formation. Our defenders destroyed a tank, 3 BMPs, and 4 buggies with precise drone strikes and artillery fire.
Carrying the locator.
Ended their senseless existence on the approaches to Mala Tokmachka. The enemy assault collapsed before it even began. Reporting from the southern section of the front in Zaporizhzhia, Alexander Motorny, Alexander Shian, and Vitaly Ovsyanikov. TSN 1+1 United News Marathon.
That's all from me for now. This was me, Darina Hutsakalo, with you. Even more hellish news from the front in our next broadcast. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon.